I liked beer. I still like beer. But I did not drink beer to the point of blacking out.
I eat extra sharp. That's what I eat.
Early in the morning, they went to the table with the black robe, the black shield, and they pulled out the votes.
Who created Pokemon Go, but I'm trying to figure out how we get them to have Pokemon go to the polls.
Running against the worst candidate in the history of presidential politics puts pressure on me. Could you imagine if I lose my whole life? What am I going to do? I'm going to say, I lost to the worst candidate in the history of politics. I'm not going to feel so good. Maybe I'll have to leave the country.
Bottom line, the American dream, the great American dream versus being a socialist hellhole.
I eat extra sharp. That's what I eat.
they felt pretty comfortable after day 2.
You know, I eat extra sharp. That's what I eat.
Max! Maxie! What? Look at this dog, he's out of control. He's a naked doggy. Oh my god. Ah! Ah! Howdy, 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 folks. Welcome to another episodic installation of Above It All. This will be a little bit of a shorter episode because I've got to go get my booster after the show, and so I will not be doing a 2-hour or probably even a 1-hour show. So factor that in to your lives and the way that you live. He is excited. All right, so we got a show here today. It's a show. Let me go ahead and push this down because it keeps focusing in on the microphone. Let me change this angle. Let me look at this angle here. Oh Lord. Okay. Did Yu-Gi-Oh have booster packs? Absolutely. I've got them all right there. So hopefully everyone's having a good morning. I am having a good morning. Let me grab my Covfefe cup. I've got a Covfefe cup. I got to take my meds. With my Covfefe. It's lodged in my throat. All right, there we go. Doom run? You want a doom run? That's what you want, Frog? You want a fucking doom run? Is that what you want? Is that what you're interested in right now? A fucking doom run? Is that all I am to you? Is that all I fucking am to you? Is a doom run? Is that all I fucking am to you? Is that all I fucking am to you, Frog? Huh? Huh? Is that all I am to you? Whoa. There you go. There's your doom run, motherfucker. There's your doom run. Are you happy now? I'm not happy. I'm depressed. Alright. So, let's see here. I switched up my mattress scenario here, my bedding. And I'm sitting a little lower than I usually am. So I'm trying to figure out how to deal with this. So I want to raise myself up a little, but like in a way that doesn't make me fall over. So there you go. Yeah, yes, Ty. There you go. All right, so let's get into the news. I want to start today's show with a little bit of Joe Biden. So a little bit of Joe Biden. Let me see if I can find a video for this. Are there videos? Do videos exist of this? Is this it? I've only got a text version, so I think this one's it. Is there audio? Does audio exist?
Television and talk
Holy
in more
shit.
detail about what I'm going to be speaking about today.
This audio is like non-existent. Okay, hold up. Should you smoke your pot? Yes.
But I want to send a direct message to the American people. Due to the steps we've taken, Omicron has not yet spread as fast as it would have otherwise done. And that's happening in Europe.
All right, so I'm gonna try. This is like, you know, you feel like okay. So it's the 21st century. It's the year 2021, and we have found footage films with really horrible audio, on the president of the United States. Look at the shaky cam here. Look at this. This is it's 2020. You'd think they would have an official White House camera person or something. It's C-SPAN, right? You'd think there would be a boom mic somewhere. It's 2021, right? But okay, so we got this found footage horror film of Joe Biden talking about how Americans are going to deal with the pandemic throughout the winter season, and it is incoherent, it is inconsistent, and it is a disgrace. So let's listen.
Is going to be on television and talking in more detail about what I'm going to be speaking about today, but I want to send a direct message to the American people. Due to the steps we've taken, Omicron has not yet spread as fast as it would have otherwise done, and that's happening in Europe. But it's here now, and it's spreading, and it's going to increase. For unvaccinated, we are looking at a winter of severe illness and death for unvaccinated. For themselves, their families, and the hospitals they'll soon overwhelm. But there's good news. If you're vaccinated, you have your booster shot, you're protected from severe illness and death.
Can we talk about this real quick? Okay, so this is the first part that I wanted to talk about. And again, this is a 3-minute clip here, but so everyone in the White House knows that this pandemic is going to absolutely massacre unvaccinated people. People that quote unquote choose not to be vaccinated are going to be dying en masse, right? Is that the situation? I've got clothing here for some reason. Oh, Maxie. Look at him. So, okay. How about this? Mandate vaccines? Maybe? If you don't want to be vaccinated, all right, great. Don't participate in society. Go get yourself a log cabin like Abraham Lincoln. Go live in the middle of fucking nowhere. Go chop your wood. Go fucking milk your goats and go fucking fuck off. Right, but if you want to go to the grocery store like a normal person, guess what? You're going to have to participate in society. In the same way that we mandate vaccination for people that enter elementary school, we should be mandating vaccination for people to go to the grocery store. That's just my opinion. So, with that being said, they know that these motherfuckers are going to die. So, but guess what? It's not like, oh, they're just going to die at home and disappear. He said explicitly, they're going to overwhelm the medical system. Is Joe Biden going to do an emergency funding stipend for the medical systems, for doctors, for nurses, do giant hiring practices? No. We're about to enter year 3 of this pandemic. You'd think people could have gone to college and have learned a fuckload and then could maybe get some in the field practice by now, from the start of the pandemic until now. But no, they don't give a fuck. So again, if I break my fucking leg in a car crash, guess what? I'm gonna have to deal with unvaccinated morons fucking up the fucking medical industry or the medical system because they chose suicide the long and painful way. They chose murder-suicide because they're fucking stupid. And so that, it adds an undue, unnecessary anxiety and stress on everyone else. When I need to get blood work, I need to deal with unvaccinated morons in the hospital system. Right? When and that's just routine for me. Right? If I, again, God forbid, have an accident of some kind, it's gonna be a factor. When I wake up and when my consciousness comes back online, I'm gonna be like, oh my God, I'm stuck in a hospital with unvaccinated morons in North Carolina, right? So again, this doesn't just affect unvaccinated people. And the idea that it's if unvaccinated people just want to die and kill themselves, I say, This is a gun country. Give them a gun. Let them kill themselves in their bedroom. Don't fuck around with the rest of us. Don't fuck the rest of our lives up. That's my opinion. But let's keep going because it gets worse.
Period. Number 2, booster shots work. 3, boosters are free.
So again, folks, I'm getting my booster shot literally right after the show. And about an hour from now, I will be leaving the house. So throwing that out there, folks, just so you know.
Safe and convenient. About 60 million people have been boosted. So
yeah, there's going to be 60 million plus 1 in about 3 hours from now. So check it out, folks.
Get your shot today. Go get boosted if you had your first 2 shots. If you haven't, go get your first shot. It's time. It's time. It's past time. And we're going to protect our economic recovery if we do this. We're going to keep schools and businesses open if we do this. And I want to see everyone around enjoy that. I want to see them enjoy the fact that they're able to be in school, the businesses are open, and the holidays are coming.
Okay, so think about, this is where it gets really incoherent. Think about this. So 60 million folks are vaccinated out of, 350 million? Not so good. Not so good. So again, okay, most people are not vaccinated, let alone fully vaccinated. And now they're telling us, you got to go to school. You got to go to school. You got to go to school. Here in Pasquotank County, North Carolina, we've had several school shutdowns over coronavirus concerns, right? And so, like, isn't that okay, so you go to school for 2 days, right? You get quarantined for 2 weeks. You go back to school for a day and a half, and then emergency shutdown, and then 2 more weeks, and then you go back to school again, maybe 4 days this time, and then, you play hopscotch, and then, like, you scrape your knee, and then there's another coronavirus outbreak. What the fuck is this garbage? Again, we are entering year 3 of this pandemic, and we haven't figured this fucking shit out yet? This is incoherent, deadly, and stupid. This is fucking stupid. All right, now again, I live in North Carolina. I covered yesterday how the COVID response in North Carolina is non-existent. Governor Roy Cooper is a fucking dipshit motherfucker, and he's a Democrat. So keep that in mind. We've got a Democratic governor in North Carolina, and we're still fucking up so hard. So I can't imagine living in South Carolina or whatever, right? But again, we are fucked in North Carolina. No one here takes this seriously at all. No one gives a fuck at all. Pasquotank County, the county I live in right now, has the highest COVID transmission in the entire state of North Carolina, right? So again, get boosted, he says, but also you gotta go buy Christmas gifts. You gotta go buy Christmas gifts. Check it out.
So get your booster shot. It's critically important. And if you haven't gotten your booster shot, get your first shot. We're in a situation where we have 83% of the American people have gotten 1 shot, 12 years and older. 400,000 shots per day now. 202 are fully vaccinated. 202 million are fully vaccinated. 57,
so here's where the weird stuff comes out here. So, okay. The term fully vaccinated, right? So 60 million Americans have received a booster shot. Yet 202 million Americans are fully vaccinated. What does fully vaccinated mean? I sincerely ask, because in this actual presser, it's one thing, right? If the booster shot comes around and then they change the definition of fully vaccinated because of waning immunity and the new variants and all that, and so like fully vaccinated changes over time. That makes sense. That's fine. But in this presser, he is saying only 60 million got the booster shot and 200 million are fully vaccinated. Like, I'm struggling here to figure out what this means. Does this mean 60 million people were fully vaccinated and then need like a top off, but then like the rest of that, like 140 million, like recently got their second shot, and so like there's similar levels of immunity? Is that what that's supposed to mean? Because again, I care about this, I follow this, and it's confusing for me, right? So if it's confusing for people that pay attention to this shit, it's no fucking wonder that these anti-vax moron conspiracy theories are taking such prominence, because the messaging from the White House and the CDC is garbage. It's trash in my ass, folks.
570, excuse me. I don't want to read, I'm not sure I got the right number. The total number of boosters. 57, 570, excuse me. I don't want to read. I'm not sure I got the right number.
That's like sound drop worthy. Holy shit, that's good.
The total number of boosters is what?
57 million.
57 million boosters, 1 million a day. So, but the whole point is, Omicron is here. It's going to start to spread much more rapidly at the beginning of the year. And the only real protection is to get your shots. If you get one shot, if you haven't gotten it yet, that'll help. If you're at the point where you have everything, including your booster, you're in really good shape. So move now. Move now. Thank you all very much.
Do you feel like your strategy is working, Mr. President?
So, okay. So again, think about this. Our medical system is going to be overwhelmed. Go out and shop for Christmas, send your kids to school, do all this fucking stupid shit to help the economy? Yeah, the medical system is going to be overwhelmed. You're never going to be able to use the doctor ever again, right, for the rest of the winter. Yet, you should still go outside every day, go to the mall, go buy some candles. Yeah, you know that candle factory bullshit that they just murdered their own workers for you? That's right. We need to murder some more workers, right? It's a two birds with one stone, right? Less people to inflate the economy, right? And then more candles are being manufactured for your grandma, right? So again, this is like, we are living in this is Twilight Zone here. I genuinely feel like I did like mushrooms, or like I'm in the middle of a dream sequence and I haven't woken up yet or something. Like there's no way this is real, right? Our hospital systems are going to be overwhelmed. Go out and celebrate Christmas. Go out and shop. Send your kids to school. Like I can't wrap my mind around this. I really can't. I really cannot wrap my mind around this strategy. We need lockdowns, we need mask mandates, and we need them now. Anything less than that is murder. It's murder. Right? And again, the lack of any and all consistent and stable messaging from the White House is what's allowing these conspiracy theories to flourish. Right? A lot of people I know in person, right, and like in my family and extended family, right, don't know what the fuck to do when it comes to the booster shot. Because originally they said only get it if you're immunocompromised and 65 and up, and they don't do any like messaging campaigns. Like, you're not seeing, like, that many advertisements, like, and maybe you are, like, I don't know, I don't have cable, but a lot of people I talk to don't have cable either, right? So you're not, like, there's no real stable, like, information outlet, right? No one knows what the fuck to do, right? Remember when the CDC said to take your masks off in, like, May or April? People still think that, you can take your mask off if you're vaccinated, right? So again, the CDC is doing a horrible job at this, and it's why these conspiracy theories are flourishing. I want them to be more consistent, I want them to be more stable, and I want them to be, like, able to shove the news down people's throats, right? It should be like when we had the presidential alerts under Donald Trump, remember that? We need that for fucking COVID news. Seriously. Like, presidential alert, new update, booster shots now recommended for... If Donald Trump, the orange fucking man, can do presidential goddamn alerts, why the fuck can't Joe Biden with the fucking crucial pandemic updates? This is gonna get bad, folks. I mean, again, as I'm getting my booster shot literally as soon as the show is over. This is gonna get bad. I remember last year. Remember Joe Biden was like last year, he was like, we're going to have a dark winter or something like that. We're going to hit 1 million deaths very soon. This is not good. And Republicans, somehow, they're going to be able, right? Somehow Republicans are going to be able to win an election based on this, when it's all their fault that we got this bad in the first place, right? But Americans are fucking stupid. And that's at the end of the day that you need to understand here. American citizens, people that were born and raised in the US of A, are fucking dumb. They are dumb motherfuckers. There is no such thing as inflation, motherfucker, right? I'm sorry, it's all made up. right? Stores are overcharging you because they think they can. And you're buying their products and letting them overcharge you. And then that is what's creating inflation. They're fucking with you. It's a made-up crisis. Do not drink alcohol after booster? Why not? See, I don't know. I was planning on getting home and cracking open a brewski. Not really. I'm just probably going to smoke some weed. So anyway. So after that, I want to talk about this because this is also important. Trump sought to undermine COVID-19 response, says panel. Now, first of all, before I get into this, we already knew this. A report came out last year when Trump was still in office that the USPS, the Postal Service, was going to deliver 5 reusable cloth masks to every household in America, right? And then Trump, last minute, they were literally about to start delivering them. Trump gave a phone call and said, don't do it. If people have masks in their mailboxes, they're going to panic. And then my approval rating is going to drop. Imagine in April of 2020, imagine where we would be right now if everyone got masks in their mailbox and Trump was like, all right, there's going to be a pandemic. Things might be a little tough. It's only going to last a couple months and we'll get through this. He would have coasted to re-election. There would be no such thing as or need for January 6th. There would be no such thing or need for election misinformation. He would have been able to coast to victory. But he chose not to because he's just that fucking stupid and crazy. So again, we already knew that, but it gets worse. The Trump administration deliberately undermined the nation's coronavirus response for political purposes, including by weakening testing guidance and championing widespread herd immunity, according to a new report from the House panel investigating the pandemic response. The staff report released Friday, that's today, was a summation of the year's work investigating of political interference in the pandemic response from Trump officials and the former president himself. In interviews with officials and from uncovered emails and other documents, the committee found that the former administration failed to heed warnings about supply shortages, blocked public health officials from speaking publicly, and neglecting the pandemic response in order to focus on the 2020 presidential election and on promoting the lie that the election was stolen. Right? So again, there's multifaceted. In the beginning, he lied. In the middle, remember, we'll be open by Easter. Remember, with nothing. We'll be open by Easter, right? Then the election comes around. He had COVID during the first debate and knew about it 3 days beforehand. The fuck? Okay. But let's keep going. New evidence released Friday showed the Trump White House intentionally softened the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention's public health guidance for faith communities. I don't even know what that means. Jay Butler, the deputy director for infectious diseases, told the panel in an interview he was pressured by the White House to publish guidance for faith communities that softened some very important public health recommendations, such as removing all references to face coverings, a suggestion to suspend choirs, and language related to virtual services. So, okay. My question is, I think anyone involved in this, Jay Butler included, guilty of murder. Send them to fucking jail. If someone tells you to kill someone and you kill them, guess what? You killed someone. It doesn't matter if you were just following orders. Who cares? When the White House tells you to soften the response to the pandemic, you know what you do? You immediately run to the press and resign. Anything else means you are complicit. So all of these motherfuckers that went along with this are guilty of murder. But will there be any accountability? No, because this is the United States of America. You can kill people as long as you kill them in the right way. It's fine. The most prolific serial killers in world history is probably governing officials in the United States of America. These motherfuckers are ruthless, they're evil, and they're disgusting. Oh, you're telling us about it now? Well, thanks a lot, Jack, or Jay, I should say. Thank you for telling us almost 2 years later that you participated in a giant murder scheme. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. But again, this is shit we already knew, just slightly more details. All they did was pander to fucking religion. And they covered up how severe the pandemic was going to be. They fucking didn't really they opened up this lockdown. First of all, North Carolina, where I live, never locked down to begin with, right? So this is like a fucking Mandela effect thing. You know, whenever people say during lockdown, there was never a lockdown for most of Americans. In North Carolina, I locked myself down, right? But there was no lockdown, right? Every once in a while, I would still go to the grocery store, and there was literally, it was as crowded as they ever were, and no one had masks on. There was never a lockdown in half of this fucking country, right? So it's like a Mandela effect, Twilight Zone kind of a thing. Oh, back in quarantine. What quarantine? What the fuck? What country did you live in? Because it's clearly not this one, right? So again, they're all complicit in murder, as far as I'm concerned. Jay Butler, go fuck yourself. You did not do your job. You failed to help the American people. And again, I say anyone responsible for this cover-up, anyone who participated in this cover-up, is guilty of murder. The only correct response is resign and run to the press, leak all the documents, and go from there. That's the only appropriate response. Anything less than that is complicity. Maxie! Let's get this dog on the show. Maxie, you want to say hello? You want to say hello? Everyone's watching you. They're watching you in the background. They're saying, what's that dog doing? They're saying, I want to meet that dog. That's what they're saying. They're saying, I want to meet that dog. This is Max, folks. They're saying, I love that dog. Look at this doggy. What a life. What a life. What a life that we've got here, folks. What a life. So yesterday, in the news, the Senate announced, the Democratic-controlled Senate, announced that the Build Back Better Act will be shelved indefinitely, quote, to focus on voting rights. So yesterday, I read the statement from Cori Bush where she very explicitly laid out that the idea that you need to do one or the other is fairy tale nonsense. You can pass both of them immediately at the same time if you wanted to, but they don't want to. The Democratic-controlled Senate doesn't want to. They don't give a fuck about your voting rights. They don't give a fuck about the child tax credit. They don't give a fuck. They don't give a flying fuck. And Pramila Jayapal went on a cringe tour. That's right. She went on a cringe tour about this. And I've got multiple pieces of evidence that talk about this cringe tour. And I want to talk about that in this segment here. So first, we've got this from 2 days ago. This clip here from the Mehdi Hassan show on MSNBC, I think it is. I don't know. And he interviewed Pramila Jayapal and asked some very interesting questions. I want to get into this. And then we will get into the statement that they released last night.
I feel you got played by Joe Manchin.
No and no. We are, for the weeks and the days going up to the vote in the House, everybody, every day, if I had counted, if I got a penny for every time somebody said to me, this is not going to happen. You all have given up everything. We got it done in the House. Now, I am in the same place.
Okay, so the question, do you feel like you got played by Joe Manchin? Joe Manchin is a senator. And then Pramila Jayapal's answer, we got it done in the House. We got it done in the House. And? Okay, so you got it done in the House, and it's law now, right? No, wrong. It's not law, because you got it done in the House, and then it's going to die in the Senate. So it doesn't...
In saying that we are getting grenades rolled at us all the time. We have to pick them up, we have to put the pin back in, and we have to continue to focus on the fact that this is going to be rocky. We can't hang our commitments and our hopes on the words of one senator or two senators. We have.
So again, for those of you that need the primer, Joe Manchin wanted, theoretically, the infrastructure bill to be passed, right? So the Progressive Caucus said they would vote no on the infrastructure bill unless the Senate already had passed the social spending bill and the infrastructure bill, right? This is an important piece of information here. So what that would mean is the Senate would pass them, right? Then they would go to the House, and the House would pass them, and then they would go to the president's desk. Typically, what happens is the House will pass something, and then the Senate will water it down and then pass it, and then the House will repass the watered-down version. That's typically what happens, right? But the whole thing for several months, all of summer and all of autumn, was it's a two-track. The Senate passes them first because we know Joe Manchin is a scumbag, right? And so what that did is it put this in Joe Manchin's hand. Is Joe Manchin going to downvote the infrastructure package? All right, let him do that. Let him be the person I'm making a video about right now. But instead, what happened was Pramila Jayapal said, we got this, bro. We got this. We're going to pass the infrastructure bill without the social bill. And then, question mark. That's... Okay, so we're going to pass we're going to completely go back on what we've been saying for about 4, 5, 6 months. We're going to do the exact opposite. And it's going to work out, I promise. And then here we are. It didn't work out. And this is how she has to respond to it.
Have to continue to work to get it done. And the vast majority of it is done. And so I was on the phone with Senator Schumer today, with the White House, and I believe we will still get it done. It's going to be rocky. And we just have to continue to leave no space in the commitment to getting it done. And listen, the president's word is on the line here, and I do still believe that he is going.
The president's word is on the line for things like legalizing marijuana. Hasn't happened. Student loan forgiveness hasn't happened. Right? Pandemic response hasn't happened. Joe Biden his word has been on the line for many things that haven't happened. Right? I don't know. Here's the thing. Unless they've got a secret bit of information that no one is releasing to the public, none of this makes any sense. If they've got, some secret, memo from Joe Manchin that says, I'm totally going to vote for this, bro, just, give me until February, right? And then it's got, he's, did the thing like a Naruto and then plants it with his blood on the fucking thing, and then, there's, a jutsu or something sealed to him, and he has to... That's not going to happen. That doesn't exist, right? So anyone that sees this is going to go, what the fuck's going on? Now, again, am I saying that it's Pramila Jayapal's fault that this isn't happening? No. I'm saying the entire structure of the U.S. government is garbage. I'm saying the president is garbage. I'm saying Joe Manchin is garbage. I'm saying Chuck Schumer is garbage. The Republican Party is garbage. It's garbage. All of them are garbage, right? And the only people that I even took remotely seriously when it comes to the U.S. government was the Progressive Caucus. And they said they would downvote it unless it was 2 tracks. That's what they said. And then they didn't do that, and now here we are. The social spending bill is probably not going to happen. If it ends up happening, all right, I will cover that at that point, right? But again, this idea that she is just... Why doesn't she just talk about Joe Manchin being a corrupt coal baron? He's literally heavily invested in coal companies, and he's trying to strike down a climate proposal. Why doesn't she talk about that? Why doesn't she talk about Joe Manchin's family being embroiled in an EpiPen scandal where millions of Americans are being price gouged, and probably a good chunk of them are dying because they can't afford EpiPens? Catherine, Republican Joe Manchin stands in the way. Media says progressives are the problem. I'm not saying progressives are the problem. I'm saying progressives need to be stronger and they need to stop falling for bullshit. It's okay, right, to criticize people in good faith. That's fine to criticize people in good faith. If you think that I shouldn't ever possibly ever criticize a progressive, I'm sorry, I disagree. Like, if you think that somehow I'm caping for Joe Manchin when I made probably fucking dozens of videos about Joe Manchin, how garbage he is, I don't know what to tell you. But again, these interviews, these are not inspiring confidence in the American people. People that I know that don't follow politics talk to me and they go like, what's going on with the child tax credit? And what am I supposed to tell them? Right? The problem is every structure here is weak and garbage. Right? And now, am I saying Pramila Jayapal is a terrible person on a personal level? No. But she's not doing that great of a job when it comes to being the Progressive Caucus chair. If 6 members of the Progressive Caucus chair felt comfortable enough, right, to vote against the infrastructure package because of the violation of trust that Joe Biden and Joe Manchin provided, why didn't the rest of the Congressional Progressive Caucus have that solidarity? Everyone knew from the jump, Manchin and Sinema are garbage. They're scumbags, and they shouldn't even be in the Senate at all. Everyone knew that from the jump, right? And the only leverage that they had was to make Joe Manchin the bad guy by having him vote down the infrastructure package. That was the only leverage they had, and they decided to get rid of it. So, I disagree, and it's fine. We can disagree on this. That's okay to disagree on this. If you think the progressives did everything that they could or whatever, that's fine, right? But personally, I think it's okay to criticize them when they do things that are wrong. That's my opinion, but let's keep going.
To do what he told me and what he told our caucus and what he told the country he would do. Had we not done what we had done, though...
And if he doesn't, Congresswoman?
What was that?
And if he doesn't?
No, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. It will hurt everybody.
Just to be clear, you're going to pass Build Back Better by December the 31st?
We are going to pass Build Back Better. I hope it is by December.
So again, the Build Back Better Act, right, is the signature piece of Joe Biden's legislation that he's been promoting since like April, I think. The idea that you trust Joe Biden's word, the idea that you would trust Joe Manchin's word, that to me is my problem. I have known how shitty Joe Biden and Manchin are since I got into politics. It's pretty obvious that these motherfuckers are terrible. It's a pretty big duh that they're really garbage. Right? So, if the leader of the Progressive Caucus had no idea that Joe Manchin's a bad person, that's weird. And then again, okay, so make Joe Manchin the bad guy. Instead, it's, oh, we're going to work with him. Oh, he told us, and make him the bad guy. Shit on Joe Manchin. This is my thing. If I were in this position, instead of saying, oh, Joe Manchin promised me and he pinky swore under the Christmas tree or whatever, and then he said, don't worry, I got this. I'm making fun television and don't worry, it's going to get done, right? Or whatever. Instead of doing that, I would say, yo, Joe Manchin, why was your daughter price gouging people over EpiPens? Yo, Joe Manchin, why are you heavily invested in coal companies and you're voting down climate proposals? Yo, Joe Manchin, why do you really care so much that rich people are getting taxed less? What's going on? I would do that on national television every day. That's what I would do. But again, I'm not in that position. And that's what I want Pramila Jayapal to do, and she's not doing it. AOC has been doing it. Not as much as I would like, right? Rashida Tlaib's been doing it a little bit. Cori Bush has been doing that. So why isn't the leader of the caucus doing that? That's my problem.
December 31st, I think it will be. But we are going to get it done, and we are going to get it done very, very quickly. Almost everything is done, thanks to the Progressive Caucus holding the line.
There's no evidence that Joe Manchin is going to vote for it. We just have reporting today that says that he spoke to Joe Biden on the phone, and they are far apart. Where is your optimism coming from? Because a lot of people are looking and saying, Joe Manchin played all of you.
So again, this is all, if Pramila Jayapal has like a secret contract, right, or something, and there's information that is not public, then okay, all of this will be justified, right? Like again, if she comes out on January 15th and said, you know, we didn't get it done by the end of the year, but here it is, and then it's passed, and then and the child tax credit resumes and all that, all right, I'm good. But right now, with all the information that we have in the public, it looks like it's not going to go so well. And so that's my problem, right? Is she should just say that there's like a secret deal that they made. That's what she should say. And again, in this instance, the squad, right? The 6 members, Cori Bush, Ayanna Pressley, Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, AOC, and I'm probably forgetting one, Jamal Bowman, right? They actually did the right thing, in my opinion. So, I don't know why there's that desynchronization. It makes things look stupid.
Well, I think, if you want to give him that credit now, you certainly can, but I don't know why you would. It hasn't been done. It's not finished. And we're going to get it done. And I think that people react to reporting. There's reporting all the time. And we know that Senator Manchin...
So again, she said, and all of them said, the same thing in September. Remember the original September 28th or 9th deadline or something that they were going to do? Remember that? They've been saying this for months and months and months. And that's why I just don't believe, unless there's like a secret, 6th-dimensional chess move and they can't make it public. And if that happens, I am fine to retract my criticism because I adapt my opinions based on new information, right? But unless that happens, it's not looking so good.
Has not been the #1 supporter of the Build Back Better Act, but he made a commitment to the president. The president made a commitment to us, and I believe we're going to get it done. So I think that there's, it's hard because we get this reporting all the time. Things go up and down in a negotiation. I feel like I'm in deja vu because I had to say this over and over again.
And that's the problem. There's never any new information ever. And then don't even get me started on the fact that the Build Back Better Act was originally going to be $3.5 trillion. Don't get me started on that. And the one that we're even dealing with isn't even that great. It's like a half corporate handout bill and half like bare minimum, but not even really that bill. 1.75. Don't even get me started on the fact that they gutted it by at least half. Don't even fucking. That's a whole different conversation that I think is problematic on all sides as well. But again, yes, this is deja vu. If you came out here and gave us new information. Like, yeah, I was talking to Joe Manchin at the fucking Senate Christmas party, and, he had one too many fucking old fashions, and fucking, he told me, he's just kind of trolling for some press, and he just wants to have a little fun before he retires and goes to live on his yacht or something, right? Give us some new information. That's all I'm asking, is just a little, just like one grain of new information.
When people told us that we weren't going to get it through the House, and we got it through the House, and we got it through the House with every single, all except one Democrat voting for it, which let me tell you, Mehdi, would not have happened had we not crafted the deal that we crafted, had the Progressive Caucus not been as strong as we were. So give us...
I don't think anyone's questioning your achievements in the House. We're talking about the Senate, where you don't control Joe Manchin. That's the problem. Joe Biden doesn't control Joe Manchin. And the leverage that you had, your critics would argue, was lost when you voted for Biff. I just wonder, do you regret voting for the Biff deal now in hindsight, given it's now months later and Joe Manchin is nowhere closer to signing off on 1.75 trillion?
No, I don't regret it because I think our leverage was at the maximum point. And had we not done that, I think we would have actually lost even more on Build Back Better. I think we would have lost votes on it. I think it would have made it very difficult to ever pass it. So I think what you have to do in these moments is...
So again, it's great that they passed the Build Back Better Act in the House. Now, again, it should be the $3.5 trillion one, but okay, that's a whole different conversation. But passing something in the House does not mean anything unless it becomes law. It's just virtue signaling. And again, when Trump was president and they were passing all these voting rights laws, right, and all that, and they were doing all that stuff, and that the Equality Act and all that, that was virtue signaling, and I liked it. Pass everything you can in the House, right, and then go from there when Democrats pick up the Senate. Now, again, everyone knew Joe Manchin is a liar. Everyone knew he's a bad faith actor. If I know this, right, I've never met Joe Manchin in my life, and I know he's a bad faith actor. You would think that people who have talked to him on the phone, you'd think that people have met him in person and see what he says behind the scenes. You'd think that that would be crystal clear for them.
you have to try and go for maximum leverage. And I think that's exactly what the Progressive Caucus did. And I believe that we're going to get it passed. Now, is it going to be every single day Joe Manchin saying something else that somebody hangs their hat on and says, this means you're not going to get it done? Unfortunately, yes, that's who Senator Manchin is. I mean, he has never made a secret of the fact that he doesn't, I think he is not the person who crafted this bill. It's not his number one priority, but he made a commitment to the president, and I believe we have to get it done, and we will get it done.
He will change his mind, you say. I hope we can get you back on the show when he does and when that bill passes. It's a huge bill. I've made my views very clear about what an important bill it is on this show many times.
So anyway, then they released this statement last night. Delaying Build Back Better until 2022 will have immediate consequences. The House passed a bill agreed to by nearly 50 senators. Let me just read the statement. Representative Pramila Jayapal, chair of the Congressional Progressive Caucus, issued the following blah, blah, blah. Delaying the passage of the Build Back Better Act until 2022 would have immediate and devastating consequences. It would place the monthly expanded child tax credit at risk, plunging millions into poverty, correct. It would postpone the Affordable Care Act subsidies and Medicaid coverage gaps slated to provide 2.9, aka 3 million Americans access to the care beginning next year, correct. It would delay inflation-busting investments. I feel like they need to say that. Inflation doesn't really exist, but, whatever. Investments to lower costs for families at the same time they need it, or at the time they need it most. It would ensure the biggest corporations continue to get away with not paying their fair share. This is all correct. And it would further push off desperately needed action on lowering drug prices, correct. Expanding access to child and home care, correct. Fighting the climate crisis. Let's be honest, this bill is not fighting the climate crisis. It's not happening. And investing in housing, that's correct at least. Progressives have worked diligently with the White House and Senate over the better part of this year to set up for this moment. This version of Build Back Better we passed out of the House was agreed to by nearly every senator caucusing with the Democrats. Nearly. That's the problem. Nearly. And we sent it to the upper chamber based on the president's promise that he could deliver the 50 senators needed to make it law. We trust the president to follow through on that promise. I don't know why anyone would trust Biden to do anything. That's my problem here. Why would they trust Biden? Now, if they went on TV and in this press conference said Joe Manchin's a piece of fucking shit, right? He's a coal baron scumbag cocksucker, and look at this fucking shit. Look at his investments. Look how he's making money off of this. Look how he's raising money from being in the headlines every day. And then what a scumbag he is. Look at you. You aren't going to be able to feed your kid in January because of this coal baron yacht fucking shit fucking motherfucker. That's what they should be saying. Maybe, minus the swearing. But, fuck it. Include the swearing. We stand ready to work through the holidays and come back into the session as soon as the Senate returns the bill to the House and ensures it becomes law. Based on the conversation in our membership meeting today, this is the clear consensus of the Progressive Caucus. I also conveyed this to the president in a phone call. The American people sent us the Congress to deliver. More than 81 million people voted for the president's agenda, 85% of which is contained in this bill. I disagree with that. The House did our work, and now it's time for the Senate to do theirs. They must stay in session until Build Back Better is passed. Now, again, I agree with this. This is a good statement. But again, is Joe Manchin going to pay any consequences? Joe Manchin is the kind of person that doesn't care. Joe Biden is the kind of person that doesn't care. They are already in their seats. They don't give a shit. They don't give a fuck. Joe Biden could legalize weed immediately. He could have done it on day one. He still hasn't done so. Joe Biden said he would relieve up to $10,000 of student loan debt. He can do that whenever he wants. He still hasn't done it. And that's my problem, right? Is I feel like the Progressive Caucus is not doing everything that they can. I feel like the Progressive Caucus are in this position where they are the only human beings in the U.S. government. The rest of them are robots, drones, capitalist drones. They will only and always do everything they can to support capitalism, support their donors, and support corruption. And the Congressional Progressive Caucus is supposed to be the light in that tunnel. And I feel like they are not doing everything that they can on this. Now, again, Joe Manchin is the bad guy, but this isn't new information. Joe Manchin being the bad guy is not like, oh, breaking news. Holy shit. Imagine like a situation where Bernie Sanders was like Joe Manchin was agreeing with it and Bernie was like, nope, not gonna happen. Then that would be weird. No one would see that coming. But with Joe Manchin, we all saw this coming. Everyone knew that this would happen. When Joe Biden won in the primary, everyone who pays attention to politics knew he would be a scumbag loser and not do what needs to be done. And that's what's happening here. So I apologize if people are upset that I'm criticizing progressives, but I mean, I don't live in this world where progressives are somehow above criticism all the time. So I apologize if people are offended by that. You're allowed to criticize people in good faith. You're allowed to criticize people because you want them to do better. That's allowed. That's encouraged. And if you disagree, then that's fine. But we just have a disagreement there. Joe Manchin's the bad guy. Yes. And if the only people in Congress that are human beings don't understand that Joe Manchin's the bad guy, that's a problem. That's a problem. And I'm not saying this because I think that people should give up and that they should just like smoke weed all day and watch fucking YouTube all day. I'm saying this because people need to realize who the problematic people are. People need to realize how stupid our form of government is, and people need to go out there and change it. Organize. Work with your community. The midterms are coming up. Volunteer on a fucking midterm campaign. That's what I'm going to do. Whoever's running in my district, wherever I'm at, I'm going to volunteer for that shit. Because the current government that we have is not a government that's going to do anything for us. So, that's my opinion. Hounding on progressives is damaging. I disagree. I also, if my YouTube show, if Above It All is the make or break here, like the Congressional Progressive Caucus would otherwise they would slam dunk this, but fuck, Andrea made a slightly constructively critical video about us, and now we can't do it. If my video is going to be the make or break, then Lord have mercy, I need to really rethink my my strategies here, because I've got a lot more power than I otherwise thought I did. And again, I have been supportive of the progressives up until this point. Up until yesterday, really. I'm sowing doubt on the only people who can fix anything. I disagree. I don't see how that's happening. Joe Manchin has been the bad guy since day one. He's been the bad guy since day one. I have never, ever said that he's not the bad guy. I have never said that Pramila Jayapal is a bad person. I'm just saying I'm losing faith in her leadership. That's it. Catherine, come on now. This is an extreme overreaction. I don't necessarily even think Jayapal should be disowned and fired. I think that she needs to either tell us why this is going to work or change the strategy. Because again, if she has like a secret piece of information that can ensure the American public that this is going to happen, why wouldn't she give it up? And if she does have that information come out later, right? Like, let's say it gets passed on like January fucking 36th or whatever, right? And then she comes out and says, like, yeah, I had this piece of info and whatever. I'm going to reshape my opinion. But the idea that we can't criticize progressives, I'm sorry. And the idea that I'm hounding on progressives when most of this video is about how bad Joe Manchin is. I mean, that's just, it's fantasy world. If you think that I'm hounding on progressives and that I'm somehow trying to, like, obfuscate the real enemy, that being Joe Manchin and Joe Biden, you're living in a fantasy world, Catherine. I don't know what to tell you. That's just fantastical thinking. In my opinion, you're allowed to criticize politicians. Oh no, just hounding on folks like me that get blazed all day and watch YouTube. That is my crime. Matt, come on now. You know the problem here is you don't smoke enough weed and you don't watch enough Above It All. We all know that that's the problem. And I am not you are underreacting, absolutely. But again, I just want to say, like, if somehow, for whatever reason, me criticizing Pramila Jayapal makes you dislike my YouTube show, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. There has not been a single time ever at all where I have ever obfuscated Joe Manchin and Joe Biden as the real enemy at all. You can watch my coverage of the Build Back Better shenanigans from day one. My opinion has been the same, right? They said originally, Jayapal and the Congressional Progressive Caucus said they would vote down the infrastructure bill if it wasn't to track with the social bill from the Senate. They did not do that. And they have yet to explain why they went back on that promise. They have yet to explain that. And again, if it comes out later on that they, like, then, like, you know, let's say it gets passed and then they give us the details and why they voted, and then that's fine. I'm fine with that. And I'll change my opinion on it and I'll say maybe that was for the best, whatever, right? But until that point, we do not have that information. The American public does not have that information yet, and therefore we are acting on the information that is public. She is clearly under the operating, principle that there is something that is going to change Joe Manchin's mind. And I hope that happens. I personally don't think that that's going to happen. There is nothing publicly available that presents to me that is the reality that we're going to live in. At all. I haven't seen any evidence of that. But again, if they come out, if it gets passed and they come out and say, we didn't make this detail public because we thought it would blow up the negotiations or whatever, then that's fine. But we'll have to wait and see how this goes. Because again, if Republicans really do steamroll in 2022, which I think is more than likely going to happen, if that really does happen, then nothing is going to be possible. And if the argument is that Joe Manchin is a Republican and therefore nothing is possible now, then why is Pramila Jayapal telling us that it is possible that Joe Manchin will vote yes? If Joe Manchin is such a bad guy that nothing would ever get past him, why is Jayapal telling us that that's not the case? So there's someone here is not living in the real world. If it's me, and then more information comes out, all right. But to me right now, and to most people that I've spoken to, it looks like the Progressive Caucus got steamrolled. That's what it looks like. And yes, they got steamrolled by a supervillain. Joe Manchin is a literal comic book supervillain. Like that image of him standing on the yacht, drinking his little whatever the fuck with those people protesting on the boats. That is supervillain shit. Joe Manchin is historically, and again, there's always one of these motherfuckers, Lieberman, etc. There's always one of these motherfuckers that's going to be the motherfucker that gets in the way of everything. And the only way to solve that is to elect more progressives and to have more fierce progressives in the House and the Senate and in the presidency. That's the only way to fix that. And that's what I advocate for. So if the problem is that Joe Manchin isn't going to budge no matter what, then I don't know why Jayapal is telling us that that's going to change. My opinion is vote for Democrats in the Senate so that Joe Manchin isn't the rotating villain, and then we'll see if anyone else steps up to the plate, which, let's be honest, someone probably will. But that, again, I've got a lot of problems with how this is happening. And I have no problem whatsoever in criticizing them. Why are all these people named Joe, by the way? Joe Biden, Joe Lieberman, Joe Manchin. What the fuck is with Joe? I absolutely adore Cori Bush. I think she's the best member of Congress that we have. If I were to have like a power ranking list, Cori Bush number 1. Anyway, folks, that's the show for today. I apologize if people got offended by my hot, spicy, fiery takes. But I personally think it's an overreaction. And I got to get ready to go get my booster shot, so... Because I voted in Maryland, when I lived in Maryland, I'm on all these, like, databases for, like, vaccinations in Maryland, and I keep texting them, please shut the fuck up and stop texting me. But every single day, I'm getting, like, Maryland Vaccine Center, like, lists from all these different numbers, and it's like, first of all, I'm getting my booster today. I'm good. Second of all, I don't live there anymore. But you know what I mean? Like, so, but anyway, I'm getting my flu shot as well, so I'm double dipping here. What about Talib? Talib is a good number 2 for sure. But anyway, folks, thank you all for watching. I apologize if I made people upset. That is not my intention. But at the same time, I'm not going to change my opinion on behalf of, like, someone being mad at me or whatever. And again, I challenge anyone to go find any video I've made where I'm obfuscating that Joe Manchin is a real villain. If you can find any video on this channel where I'm, like, defending or covering for Joe Manchin, then I would be impressed, because I don't think it's happened. You know what? Ooh, Mamma Mia. God damn.
We've ended the war on American energy. We were in war. And we've ended the war on beautiful, clean coal, one of our great natural resources. I don't wear a mask like him. Every time you see him, he's got a mask. He could be speaking 200 feet away from it. He shows up with the biggest mask I've ever seen. You used the word smart. So you said you went to Delaware State, but you forgot the name of your college. You didn't go to Delaware State. You graduated either the lowest or almost the lowest in your class. Don't ever use the word smart with me. Don't ever use that word.
Oh, give me a break.
Because you know what? There's nothing smart about you, Joe.
I don't know who created Pokemon Go. But I'm trying to figure out how we get them to have Pokemon go to the polls.
$7 million for reef fish management, $25 million to combat Asian carp, $2.5 million to count the number of amberjack fish in the Gulf of Mexico.
And Corn Pop was a bad dude. And he ran a bunch of bad boys.
Get your words straight, Jack.
Running against the worst candidate in the history of presidential politics puts pressure on me. Could you imagine if I lose my whole life? What am I going to do? I'm going to say, I lost to the worst candidate in the history of politics. I'm not going to feel so good. Maybe I'll have to leave the country. I don't know.